Hey guys, this is San Diego DIY again, and just please like and subscribe. Um, Today's video is a little bit more complicated than the other ones I've done. It is on the reverse camera for the head unit. I have a Boss Audio head unit for the E53 X5. Mine's a 2004 model. No DSP stock radio. That was replaced with the head unit. So there was an input on the head unit for the rear view camera. So I got a cheap rear view camera. I'll do a review on that with a link in description. But this is a little complicated, especially for people that aren't super good with electronics or wiring, but I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. What I would recommend in hindsight is the first thing you do after you buy your camera is to first find where you're going to use your 12 volt power source. And what I did was, because I don't have the DSP on mine with the navigation and all that, is I'll show you. I'm at the back of the car. I'm looking at the rear tire, and right here is a clip with a bunch of pins that aren't being used. You can pop that out, and I tested those pins when the car was on, and there's a 12 volt signal that comes from the really thick red one. So what I would recommend doing is, I took some wire from another X5 and I tapped into that thick red wire, and I fed this green wire here. You can see that. And starting from the back here, normally this sits like that, and you can use your key to slide in there and pop it out. There's 4 or 5 tabs, so you go like that, you pop it out, and it slides out like that. So I took my wire, I just took a regular wire from another X5, and I fed it through this plastic underneath. And if you lift it up, it slides right under there. And there's a gasket right there. I don't know if you can see that. So I took that green wire, fed it through, poked a hole in that gasket for my camera wire, but you don't have to do that right now. I'll get to that. But I fed this green wire through there, and where the empty side was on that end, fed it through that gasket, pops out right here, and I tapped it to this really thick red wire. Can't really see it, but there's a thick red wire on that connector. You can use another spot. I've seen some people use the fuse box in here and hook it up to the radio terminal where that fuse is. Use your cigarette lighter. You can use any 12 volt source for that. So that's the first thing I would do, is feed in a wire, feed in a green wire or any wire that's thick, relatively thick, just normal speaker wire would do. Feed it in through that gasket here, and use a wire tap to tap into that 12 volt source. And I can do a video on wire taps if you guys want to see the different sizes and how they work, but they're pretty simple. You can get them pretty much anywhere at Walmart, Home Depot. But first thing, take that wire, feed it through the back, lift that up, go through that gasket, tap into that really thick red wire on this connector there. This is a connector. There's a really thick red wire, red and blue. It's the thickest one. It's a red with a blue stripe on mine. And that's a 12 volt source. You can use a multimeter to test it. That's the first thing I would do. It gets a little more complicated after that. So the next thing I would do is you get your relay, call this relay number 1, and it looks like this. I used 2 relays. They're both from spare parts from the salvage yard. They both came off of BMWs, and first one I used was this green one. There's 5 pins. They're labeled 30, 85, 86, and 87. There's 2 87s. You only need to use one of them. The 30, first of all, the part number on this is V23134-K59-X312. But the next thing I would do after you take that spare wire for your 12 volt signal, wire it to your 12 volt power source that I just described, then solder it to pin 30 on this green relay. Solder it on pin 30. Next thing you're going to do is basically, I would recommend first hooking up the relays first. So 86 is a ground wire, and there's a pin on there. They're all labeled on the bottom of this relay. They're all labeled 86, 85, 87, 30. Power is going to go to 30. 86 is going to go to your ground, but the ground you're going to use is the ground that's on your reverse light. So here's your reverse light connector. I used the right one, and there's this thick brown wire here is your ground wire for that. You're going to hook up 86, pin 86 on that green relay to that brown wire from the reverse light. The next thing you're going to do is connect pin 85, or I'm sorry, pin 87. You're going to hook up pin 87, one of them, it doesn't matter which one, to your camera red power cord. So you're going to have two on your camera. There's a be a red that connects to your red power strip. There's going to be 2 wires that come out of this black piece, a red and a black wire. You're going to connect the red wire to pin 87 on the green relay. Pin 85 is going to go to your second relay. The second relay that I used is the same as this one. It's a blue one. It's a little bit different because it's the way the switch works in here works differently than the other one. And if you have questions on that, feel free to leave a comment and post a question and I'll answer it. But pin 85 on this green one connects to pin 5 on this blue one. So you're going to connect pin 85 from the green to pin 5 on the blue one. The next thing you're going to want to do is on this blue one, you're going to want to connect pin 2 to the ground chassis. I connected it here. I just used the screw, got the brown wire from pin 2, connected pin 2 to there. I also connected my ground wire for the camera there as well. The black wire from your camera to the same ground point as that's the brown wire. I used again a regular brown wire from another X5. You can use any wire that's thick enough, about the same as what you see for the camera. And I used that brown wire and soldered it to pin 2 on this blue relay. I'm trying to go as slow as possible so people can follow this. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect pin 1 on this blue relay, pin 1. Connect pin 1 to that same green wire. Again, you can use a wire tap, you can solder it on there. I basically soldered it right on there and wrapped some insulation around it to that green wire that we connected to the 12-volt power source. Pin 4 you can leave empty, and then pin 3, again pin 3 on this relay, this blue relay. I didn't give you the model number on that. The model number is V23145-A0101-X005. So after you're done connecting pin 1 to that 12-volt power source, that's how you hook up the relays. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your video camera, and there's a yellow connector for the video cable. Connects to the long video cable that you're going to wire to the head unit. That has a trigger wire on it. It's a red trigger wire, and you're going to solder that to the red power wire that's on your camera. The camera power wire, the red one, you're going to solder the trigger wire to that power wire. At this point, you can connect your camera. So what I did was, because these X5s close, because they close up here, this ends up interfering with the camera on top, and I wanted it on the bottom anyway. This is Good Bong is the name of it. It's a funny name, but I connected it to the bottom because I wanted to see the back of the bumper when it's all the way up. And what I did was I fed the wire from the camera underneath the license plate, underneath it. It comes up here. I'm not really happy with the way this is. Kind of want to take this off and feed it through this hole. That's the black camera. That's the black camera wire. I have it underneath this rubber gasket here. I close it. When I close the trunk, it works fine. Nothing. I haven't had any problems. People slam it. Hasn't been an issue. You got to keep it on the right side, underneath this rubber piece. Feed it through there, and you can feed it. You can loosen up these bolts. Feed it underneath this plastic. That's what I did. So for that camera wire, that camera wire, you then, after you connect the red trigger, you can connect that camera video wire to your video extension. That's going to go to the head unit. The video extension is the one with the red trigger wire. After you connect that red trigger wire to the red power wire for your camera, you can feed again, after you made that hole in the gasket for that green wire that I use for the 12 volt power source. This black wire is my video wire. I fed it through the gasket there. So after you feed it through the gasket, what I did was I wired it, and I ran this wire through here, around here. I tucked it underneath this, all the way up to the back seats. So I'm gonna go to the back seat, show you guys. So now we're in the back. That's the back seat. I have that up. I fed the black wire up through here, between the seats here. This piece pops off. This piece pops off. It's up against your car here. That piece pops off, and I fed the wire through that. You can kind of see it right there, but you can tuck it, hide it, and then you basically feed that black wire. You just open up this little gasket here, feed that black wire up and around, all the way across, around that edge. After you do that, fed it through here. Again, I just kept tucking it. Tucked it under this. Tucked it under this. Through here. Up and around. All the way down here. Now you can see the wire. But it fits pretty well into that crevice. I fed it all the way around and plugged it into the back of the head unit. So I took the head unit out. There's a plug for the RCA style adapter. Goes into the back of the head unit. And there's also a wire in the head unit that connects to the trigger wire. On my head unit, the Boss Audio BV9358B is the model. BV9358B. That's it. There's a purple wire on that one that connects, and it's labeled. It's labeled, and it says that it connects to the trigger wire. So there's a trigger wire on that video cable. One end is in the back that connects to the power for your camera, and the other end at the head unit, where the trigger wire comes up again, connects to the purple wire for the reverse light. So when you go in reverse, the relays do their thing, they switch, and because this rear light is pulsed. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. The rear light is pulsed. So the average voltage that comes out of that is 10.3 volts. It should be 12. And it's not a constant voltage. And because it pulses, it causes a flicker to happen on the screen when the reverse light's connected to it. So that's why we use the relays. We're basically forcing a constant 12 volt voltage to that head unit into the trigger wire and the power source for the camera, which is important. You need a constant 12 volt, at least for this camera. You need a constant 12 volt signal for the power and for the trigger wire. So I think I covered it. I think I covered it all. At that point, you can mount your camera, plug in your power. This is your power. Have that plugged in. Have your video cable plugged in. And that should solve it. It solved it for me. That worked great. The one thing I didn't mention, I forgot to mention this, it's very important, is that after let me see what I did here. Oh, the ground wire, I think I might have mentioned this. The ground wire on relay 1, that green relay, that ground wire needs to be, that's pin 86, needs to be connected to this brown wire on your reverse light. It can't be the same chassis ground that you used on the power and that you used on relay number 2 for pin 2. That's the biggest thing with the relays. If you follow the wiring diagrams on the relays, you can figure this out. That's what I did. And it works fine. I'm going to show you my diagram. It's not that great. It's hard to read. But I'll show you guys. It's your camera, video, relay 1, relay 2, your reverse light, BMW X5 2004. There's relay 2, relay 1, reverse light, and your camera stuff. It's all right there. It's all right there. You can pause the video and look at that. But again, just go over it really fast. Relay 1, the green relay. Pin 87 connects to your red power on the camera. Pin 85 connects to pin 5 on relay 2. Pin 30 on relay 1, the green relay, connects to your 12 volt power from the inside of the car, the green wire that I used. And pin 86 connects to the reverse light ground brown wire on the right side. It's also brown on the left side. On relay number 2, pin 2 connects to the ground, chassis ground that I use here. This brown wire is for relay 2. I connected the ground wire for the camera in the same spot. Relay pin 4 is empty. And pin 3 connects to your reverse light, the reverse light power. So on the right side, this power is a blue and yellow wire. I just plugged mine straight into the pin, but you can solder it also. On the left side, The power is this yellow cable, this yellow-white cable, and the ground is this brown one. So whether you do it on the left or the right, it's your choice. But that should work. Then you plug in your camera, you connect it, you mount it, plug in the power cable, you plug in the video cable, you feed the video cable up and around like I showed you. It hides it really well. And I've gotten compliments on the wiring. It looks good. It looks really bad in the back. I'm not really happy with it in the back. But I used a good bong little camera. It's got LEDs on it. It works great at night. It's pretty good video quality. I actually like it. So that's it. There might be some questions. I know it's a longer video. I wanted to go nice and slow and try to describe to you how to solve the flickering light problem on the BMW E53 X5. No DSP, none of that, no navigation, no CD changers or anything. That's why I used that connector there, because it was nice and close. I didn't want to go up into the fuse box and deal with that. But that's the video, guys, and thanks for hanging in there. Write any questions or comments in the comments field, and I'm going to be posting some other videos. I'll try to post some links, and I'll do some reviews on the reverse camera. But it should work. It worked for me. It can work for you. I use salvage parts from salvage yard from BMWs. That's where I got the relay. That's where I got all the wire, and it works. So looking forward to hearing your comments and questions, feedback. If you think it looks good, if you think it looks like crap, let me know. And I want you guys to have a good day. I know it's a really long video. Wow, I can't believe I spent that much time. But peace, y'all, and have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.